Dr. Joyce Brown is the author of 5 books, including the bestseller God's Heavenly Answers Near Death Experience Revealed. She's the creator of a unique super subliminal sleep teaching recordings and guided self hypnosis recordings for positive self talk. She is also a consultant, seminar leader, and is known as the therapist's therapist and the Hope Doctor. In addition, Dr. Joyce is the founder and president of Stress and Grief Relief, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit suicide prevention organization using unique coping techniques for anger management, depression, and traumatic stress relief. She is also an events coordinator for IANDS, the International Association of Near-Death Studies, with over 13 million near-death experiences reported. She serves as the IANDS group leader for St. George, Mesquite, and Las Vegas. In 1983, Joyce had an extensive near-death experience herself. Dr. Joyce is dedicated to sharing what she learned while she was on the other side, especially the importance of using our limited earth time wisely. She works with those who want to change their stress to success by unleashing the power of the subconscious mind while they sleep, so that their dreams can come true. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Joyce Brown.
Don't you want to know where you're going before you pull a trigger on that gun to your head? Let me explain. This is a true story. The names are changed. We at Stress and Grief Relief work to help prevent suicide and also use unique coping techniques to help change the thinking, the feelings, and then the results. One day when I answered the phone for the hotline, this woman's voice came on. She was almost frantic as she said, "I know that you help save lives. I need help." I said, "Well, I'll be glad to help. Tell me more." She said, "My brother John called me and said he has his finger on the trigger of his 45 and it's pointed to his head, and when he pulls it, he's going to instant peace. He had a divorce. He can't stand the divorce and the pain anymore, and he's going to kill himself. I called the police, but they're afraid to break in the door for fear he might pull the trigger." I said, "Tell me more. Has he got an answering machine?" You know, back when they had answering machines. I said, "I believe he can hear me over the answering machine. Quick, give me the number." She gave me the number. I called the number. 3 rings. Finally, a pre-recorded voice came on, and it said, "This is John. Goodbye to you and goodbye to the world. Bury me in peace." Now, believing he could hear me over that answering machine, I said, "Don't you want to know where you're going before you pull the trigger on that gun to your head? You could be going to a place much worse than where you are now." How do I know? I died. I went to the other side. I thought I was going to a place of instant peace. At least hear my story. If suicide is a good idea, it will be a good idea next week. Just hear my story first. What if it's worse? What if it's worse? Now, what I said piqued John's interest. He picked up the phone and he said, "I'll give you a week. And if it's not what you say, I'm finishing the job. But I will hear your story." John put the gun down. He opened the door for the police. They took him to a mental institution. Now, I'll get back to you in a minute about John. What I want to talk to you today about is suicide prevention and its causes, some things that maybe we could do to help it. If you or someone you know has been suicidal, if you know someone who is so depressed they just want to give up, raise your hand. Suicide is very prevalent. There are some things that we can do about it. Many suicides are done for such small reasons. As an example, Robert, who was a 17-year-old, he was president of the student body. He was king of the prom. He committed suicide. Why? His parents were crushed when they read his suicide note that said he could no longer face them or his friends because he had a B on his report card. He was no longer a straight A student. This is a true story. He committed suicide because he had a B on his report card. Many times it's for small reasons. Suicide rates are skyrocketing. Between the ages of 5 on up, according to the World Health Organization, in the Rocky Mountains, it's the leading cause between the ages of 10 and 24. And in the nation, for those between ages of 10 and 24, it is the third leading cause of suicide. Now back to John. They took him to the mental institution, made sure he had the copy of the book, God's Heavenly Answers, that has my true story in it of what I experienced. He changed his mind and he became so enthusiastic about wanting to stay and make the best of his earth time, he started suicide prevention groups right there in the mental hospital. Asked for more books, we got them to him. He was soon released. He went on to college, got his degree in psychology, and carried on his work for suicide prevention and using some unique coping techniques. Now, what did my story say? I'll tell you some of the things. From the time I was 8 years old, I heard how nice heaven was, or is. I am very practical. Why stay in this world with all of the problems if I can just die and go to the other side and have all this peace? So from the time I was 8 years old, and I had a very unhappy life. I was bullied at school terribly, and my family. And I just wanted to die. I gave up. I just wanted to die with anything. Hey, whatever, I didn't try for anything. I just hated this world. And then in about 1980, my father committed suicide. And as I sat looking at that steel gray casket, it reinforced my desire that I wanted to die. Then in 1983, I had had about a year of really being ill. It wasn't because I had committed suicide, but I had repeated pneumonia. I had a bad case of rheumatoid arthritis. When the doctor told me I was going to be dying, hey, I was more thrilled than if somebody else wanted to take us to Hawaii. I didn't have to kill myself. I was just going to get out of this old world and go over there and have all that instant peace. I was sick. I was really sick. I was in so much pain, and they couldn't find out. I didn't have insurance. They're not going to do a lot of tests if you don't have insurance to pay them. Bleeding down the back of my head. I mean, I was just barely able to walk around the furniture with the arthritis. I was so happy, though. But one day, I woke up and I was even sicker. If I'd known what was going to happen, I'd have gone somewhere else. Anyway, I dragged myself out of bed into the bathroom. I wanted to be in a reverent position to just ask for enough time to get my burial plans done. I draped myself over the tub. And I just was trying to form the thoughts to ask for this time to get my burial arrangements done when a voice said, "Oh no, if you come now." And I was up and out of my body looking down on it. We've never seen ourselves. We look in the mirror, but we haven't seen ourselves as round and like we do see other people. It was a shock. But what was the biggest shock was the terrible pain I had of the absolute realization I had wasted my limited earth time. As a life review, I had nothing good to look back on except for the times I had given up. I hadn't grown. We make it through problems. We learn and grow. I discovered the value of earth time, that life is worth living, even with all of its problems. But it was too late for me. I also discovered if someone dies and it's their time, they go home to a great celebration. But I was facing what I had done of wanting to give up. I begged for the chance to come back. Oh, please let me have the chance to come back. I had a burning, self-burning. It was just horrible, the pain I had that I'd done to myself. Oh, please let me have a chance to come back. I promise I will tell everyone I can get to even listen the importance of using earth time wisely. But it was a no. There was just a no. The agony was horrible. And then, all of a sudden, I saw a gold crown tooth. And I knew everything about this tooth. I'd never even had a toothache. I was very proud I had everything else, but I didn't even have a toothache. But I knew about this gold crown tooth and that it was a big portion of my problem. Then I was back in my body. And you know what? I could feel my face. I wasn't that wispy thing anymore. In a few days, I rallied back enough. My mother took me to the dentist, and I told him he had to pull the tooth. He says, does it hurt? I said, no, but it's got to come out. He took an x-ray. Nothing showed on the x-ray. So he had his attorney prepare a statement to take away his liability to take out a perfectly good gold crown tooth. After it was out, you could see it was all black and melted and infected up in my sinuses. And it was just like within an hour, electrical needles just started coming out of each pore. And by the next morning, the bleeding stopped. In 2 to 3 weeks, the arthritis went into remission. I had my proof. God is real. There is an important message that I have tried my best to be able to share. And also, I've discovered some of the great, unique coping techniques that, like I said, we change the attitude. Somebody decides they want to stay, but then how do we change the thinking and the feelings? So I have used sleep teaching for years, and even when I was at my best and having good positive thinking, hey, I still wanted to go to that place they told me that I felt was instant peace until I had this experience. Now I put the two together with the nonprofit organization and do whatever I can to help people and sharing the message. And what's interesting is some of the lives that have been saved. As an example, just 2 weeks ago, my daughter told me of something that happened to her. She went to her friend's house, Betty, and she didn't answer the front door. She noticed at the side of the house were tire tracks. She went around to the back. There was a garage back there. She peeked on her tiptoes to look in the glass and saw the car in the garage. Betty riding furiously off over the passenger side. She looked down and could see the tailpipe was taped with black tape. She went in and she said, I know what you're going to do, and you can't do this. Betty says, go away, I'm busy. She said, I am not leaving. What if you're not going to a better place? What if you're not going to a better place? And she convinced her enough, because Betty had just lost her husband about a week before, so she wanted to go where she thought was instant peace and be with him. But she convinced her enough, what if it's not a better place? That later, when Betty came back out to live her life, her daughter, who she was very, very close to, had a mysterious death. She died, but she still knew, what if it's not a better place? So she stayed around doing what she could. Then her son, this is a true story, was in a tragic accident, and he died. But she made it through. What if? So we can help others. She ended up remarrying. But there's things that we can do. Have you or someone you know ever felt so overwhelmed, so stressed, you just wanted to give up? Look around you. There are so many hurting people. Your speeches and the things you're doing, you're helping change lives, things that you're doing right now. But there are things we can do. The hurting people out there need to hear words of encouragement. Now, I have loved coming to NSA and these programs, and the doctor's been trying to get me to go get some more extensive medical tests, but hey, who could resist Lady and the Champs, And then who could really, then I heard about the academy. Well, I had to have the academy. I didn't even know what the thing was. But anyway, so got up every morning, 3-something, to be able to make it early to the shuttle to get here, and my faithful little one here. But anyway, it's been really great. But then I did get the MRIs and the tests, 1st of May, worked it in, but didn't get a chance with all these things that were going on. I did see the doctor Wednesday. And he said, I know you very well. I know you've made it through a lot of things. You've made it when you were paralyzed from the shoulders down. You didn't give up. You made it when your house burned down with the arsonist, 6,000 square feet and all that stuff, but I really don't need all that now, but it was very hard. You took care of your husband. He just recently passed. You've lost your vision. But I have to tell you, Wednesday, he said, you're not going to make it this time. With the medical report that I have and what's going on, I have less than 2 years. And he said the kind thing would be is if you could just go to bed and not wake up with what's coming. So one of the things I want to share with you today is if you or any of you know someone who maybe is in a position to help a small nonprofit with a big message, carry the message forward. Please help. Or if you know someone who's in crisis, hey, I'm going to use every second I've got left. Look up the website, www.helpstopsuicide.org, or call me, 877 Dr. Joyce. You know, we are all needed. Life is like a game, but the real score isn't kept here. There are things that we can do. There are things we can do. Kind words, encouragement, the speeches you're doing. Oh my gosh, who doesn't want to live to hear some more of these speeches that are so great? Life is worth living. We can make it. And if we use our time wisely, like every night, listening to positive thinking that can replace negative thinking and help empower us with self-talk. You know, empowering and unleashing the subconscious mind can do wonders. You guys know that. But there's even more that you can do with the mind to even help you make more money. I'm sure everybody's interested in doing that. And using our time wisely. Because this lifetime is precious. People need us. They need the messages. And we can help. I know we can help those suicide rates go down. I just had someone stop by yesterday. They got 10 books to take to West Africa. They're starting suicide prevention groups there. Life is worth living, even with all of its problems.